Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you're watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a general consensus in the Republic of Kenya that Kenya Kwanza government has not really lived to the expectations of Kenyans, especially those who voted for it. The truth of the matter is that Kenya Kwanza government made promises to Kenyans. Majority of those promises are yet to be met. The cost of living is so high. The cost of fuel just increased. And according to latest opinion polls, majority of Kenyans are unhappy with the Kenya Kwanza government. But the question is, are they happy with Azimio? If elections were to be held, are those Kenyans who are unhappy with Kenya Kwanza, for example, vote for Azimio? Which brings me to the subject for our discussion today. The blunders that might actually sink Azimio's presidential hopes. And I want to begin this video by asking ourselves three very important questions. And maybe you can help by answering one or two of them in the comment section before I explain to you guys the blunders which Azimio must avoid. Let me ask the first question. Who will be Azimio presidential candidate in 2027? I'm asking this question because after the last election, 1 year is already gone. On the other side, they know so well that their presidential candidate is William Ruto. If you were keen during the last election, William Ruto made it very clear early in the day that he was the presidential candidate. UDA, was it UDA by that time, or the faction in Jubilee made it clear that William Ruto was their presidential candidate. So that anybody who was joining William Ruto was joining William Ruto as a second-class citizen at that second level. But he made it clear that for me, I'm going to be the presidential candidate. And he also made it very clear that my running mate was going to come from Mount Kenya. Then William Ruto sat and figured out, how am I going to get the votes in Mount Kenya? How am I going to get my votes? And where do I add? Who do I bring on board? Azimio, so far, I'm not sure whether the candidate will be Raila, that candidate will be Musalia, Kalonzo, Martha Karua, or Wajakoya the Fifth. Now, let me ask you the second question. Why do you think Azimio lost, in quotes, don't misquote me, in quotes, despite clear advantage of numbers in 2022? In 2022, Azimio had clear advantage of numbers. I'm saying this because in 2017, there were two presidential candidates. There was Raila Odinga and then there was Uhuru Kenyatta. These guys came together. So the assumption was Raila came with his numbers, Uhuru also came with the numbers. So they had advantage. But why do you think they still lost? The truth of the matter is that it boils down to planning and strategy. Are they ready now? Now, let me ask you the third question. And by the way, let me know why you think Azimio lost despite the fact that they had advantage of numbers. The third question which I want to ask you, can Azimio actually hold up to the 2027 election? Do you think Azimio will stick? Because right now, Martha Karua, Jeremiah Kioni are forming what they are calling Kamwene Forum. Are they planning to exit? Right now, Kalonzo Musyoka is there as wiper. He's already made it clear that he's going to be a presidential candidate. Which means if Azimio will settle on Martha Karua, Kalonzo will go. So far, there is the talk and the push to have Raila Odinga run as a presidential candidate in 2027. Which means in Azimio, there are already three potential candidates. If Raila were to run, can Kalonzo support? Can Martha Karua support? If Martha Karua was endorsed, can Kalonzo support? Can Raila support? The same with Kalonzo. If he's chosen, can Karua support? Those are the questions. Now, let me take you to the blunders that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance must actually work very hard to avoid. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to dive in. But before I dive in, I want to thank the following people. You are seeing their names on the screen there for the coffee, which they sent me earlier. Thank you so much. And may God bless you. It goes a long way in helping me produce more videos. Now, blunder number one that Azimio must avoid is trusting the bipartisan talks. That bipartisan talks is what is going to cause the fall of Azimio. Let's assume the bipartisan talks will go on well. They'll reach an agreement. They are going to, let's just agree, say they are going to reach an agreement, everything peacefully. They are going to sign things, and whatever they agreed are going to be implemented. But what political value is the bipartisan talk going to bring to the table? Because the bipartisan talks is actually trying to cure the mistakes which are on the other side. For me, politically, you don't help your enemy to secure their mistakes. Cost of living is high as we speak. Azimio wants to use bipartisan talks to address it. Why? Let Kenyans suffer. Azimio are saying they want the IBC and the rest to be audited, the server to be audited, commissioners. What will happen if they'll be given the commissioners they want? Let's say the bipartisan talks will agree. We are going to have 7 commissioners. Church will produce 1, each party. What if rigging will take place right in the eyes of those commissioners and they agree with their results? How is that going to happen? So for me, the first thing that Azimio ought not to allow is to proceed with these bipartisan talks. Again, even if it was to create positions for them, and Kalonzo is given the Prime Minister, Raila Deputy Raila Prime Minister, Martha Karua, how will that add political value to them? So they should treat bipartisan talks as a trap. So, when you are dealing with something as a trap, then you become very suspicious. And out of suspicion, you become cautious. And out of caution, you avoid pitfalls. So that's the first thing they must do. Number 2 is trusting IBC processes. In this country, and I've come to learn it, systems don't work. If you want systems to work, something has to be done. For example, just today I was watching some clip where Murkomen went to NTSA and he was just lining up there. He just went impromptu. Then a gentleman from the line just came to him and asked and shared with him his experience that, this is my license. My plate. I applied for the new generation. I was told to come. I received the notification that it's there. I came, I was told not ready. Today I've also come and I've been told by that guy that hiko. Mwingine kaniambia hakuna. So a system that's supposed to be effective where you apply, there's a lapse, you get the notification, then you just go and pay because you've already paid. Systems don't work in Kenya. If you want to know systems don't work in Kenya, my brother applied for his passport in April. Was it April or February? Let me just shock you. He got it in August. His passport. Yeah. A friend of mine was trying to organize for him some job somewhere. So he lost the job opportunity because the passport was not there. Then, ultimately, sometimes towards the August there, we were now tired. Then someone told me, Lee, ukipata some kidogo, someone can do that. Then I said, let me try if this thing is really working. Pap, the passport was delivered. Then finally, and this is the most interesting part, when we checked the date it was issued, almost 1 or 4 weeks after the day of application, which means the system works. Then somewhere, these guys just want every passport, every license, So if Azimio are going to trust IBC to conduct election, whether they're going to have their commissioners or not, which is free and fair, then they're going to lose big time. The truth of the matter is that Azimio must organize a serious vote protection unit in their stronghold. How do you do that? Have agents. Without agents, of course, in a system that works, you don't need agents. But without agents in Kenya, doomed. That's how Raila lost. So if Kalonzo would be the candidate, he must have a list of agents across the country. If he can't afford to pay agents on the election day, he should forget. If Raila can't do that, he should forget the presidency. Third blunder, failure to enlist the services of professionals. Someone shared with me the list of the people who were running Raila Odinga's campaign. The team that was announced, that was chaired by Mayor, was good, but they were not the ones calling the shots. They were just fun characters calling the shots. But let me advise Azimio that there is a need to have professionals. They need to have someone who understands statistics. They need to have someone who understands IT, not the usual faces I see there. The real IT guy, even if he's imported or locally. I know Kenyans are just bright people, even if they can get just a genius university student. They must get someone who understands literature. There is no need of filling a secretariat with the people who offer prayers every morning and evening. It's good to pray, but you need to have professionals. But my advice to them is that as you form a team, don't forget to have someone who has a background in military intelligence. You'll thank me later. Don't fail to have someone who has worked in the police. If you look at Raila Odinga's past successes, he had Nyaseda, former commissioner. So they need someone who has served in the police so well and left when he was respected. These guys have their people all over. They will get that right information. They must have someone who is deeply involved with the intelligence. And they must have someone who is deeply involved in judiciary. Just a cartel, a judiciary cartel. They must have. They must have those professionals and many more. So that even if they're not part of the campaign, but they work with the campaign very, very closely. So that if you want issues to do with the security, so if they make the blunder of just having their friends, relatives to run the campaigns, they should forget. They must have professionals. The last mistake, the fourth mistake I'm also seeing Azimio doing is that they're not taking the political formation seriously. When I talk of a political formation, I simply mean the presidential candidate, the running mate, and key figures. Azimio are lucky they have the right individuals. But which formation can win? If Kalonzo is going to be the presidential candidate or Martha Karua, the first question is, can they deliver their backyard? After answering that, then you go and look at, again, the remaining individuals who can deliver the backyard. Pair the two. Like for example, Kalonzo and Raila would have been good idea. I mean, would have been ideal because Raila will deliver his backyard, Kalonzo will deliver. Then now they can craft. If, for example, Oparanya can deliver more than Martha Karua, then there's no need of having Martha Karua, for example, as a running mate to Kalonzo, for example. You get? Because politics is a game of numbers, perceived or real. But I see Azimio not taking the issue of political formation seriously. Ruto took it seriously. Ruto knew that he needed Mount Kenya. He knew he needed Rift Valley. Then he just monitored. How is Western performing? We are badly off there. So if you allow Musalia Mudavadi to run or be in Azimio, then perceptionally, we are not going to succeed. Let's have him. Okay. What about Weta? Raila and Weta will lock Bungoma. But what if we have Weta on our side? So political formation is key. Lastly, messaging. Azimio must figure out a rallying call. Kenya Kwanza has failed Kenyans big time. There are so many things they can be pinned down with. But Azimio don't have communicators. They don't have, they're yet to craft messaging. So that today they talk about cost of living, tomorrow they talk about fuel, tomorrow, the other day fertilizer. They must come up with a rallying call. If I were them, I'd figure out how to brand Ruto a liar. I'll do that. Just go to get the right word, which Kenyans will pick. William Ruto is someone who can tell you, he can sell for you something which is not true, and you buy it. Azimio knows that. So the best thing they can do is to pin Ruto with some of the lies. Anyway, I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.